Hello and Gasket. Today I'm going to replace the closet bolts on one of our toilets. These are called closet bolts. This is what holds the toilet down to the closet flange, which is the part that connects the toilet to the PVC pipe or drain pipe. What we found was one of our toilets, the closet bolt had snapped off, and it was made out of iron or steel, and it had rusted probably at the base here. So we're going to take the toilet off and we're going to see if the flange is still okay, and if it's okay, then it's going to be a pretty easy job just to install new closet bolts and then a new beeswax gasket, and then we'll put the toilet back on. If we have to, we'll also replace the closet flange. So some of the tools I think I'm going to need is obviously some gloves. This is kind of some dirty work. Channel locks are water pump pliers, some regular pliers, screwdriver. You're going to need this to scrape off any old gasket. The beeswax gasket's really all gooey and gummy from age. Of course, you're going to need an adjustable crescent wrench to loosen the original one bolt that's left on there. And then I got closet bolts. These are made by Set Fast. I got these because they're made out of brass, and brass won't rust apart. So if the flange is in good shape, it'll be a really easy job to replace these. Now these come in two sizes, 3" and 2 1/4. I measured the old bolt that came out, and it was about a little over 2 1/4. So I'm hoping this is the right size, but we'll see. I have both sizes, so I can do the job. These come in pairs. I got these on Amazon like most everything else I order. Because this is the only place I could find them. I looked at Ace Hardware and True Value and Lowe's and Home Depot, and none of them had this particular brand I was looking for. So the other things you'll need: some paper towels, a bowl, some masking tape. I have some Goof Off here. This is a combination of xylene and acetone. I don't want to use it if I don't have to. I'm hoping denatured alcohol will dissolve the beeswax gasket. We're just going to putty scrape it off and clean it all off, but in order to get down into the flange, we'll have to clean it out really well. So that's why I have these items here. Of course, you'll need some cardboard to set the toilet on, and a plumber's helper. And the reason we're going to use a plumber's helper is the first thing I'm going to do is shut the water off to the toilet. Then I'm going to flush the toilet and hold the flapper open so that all the water in the tank that is possible to go down the toilet will go. And then, of course, there's still going to be water in the toilet inside. There's a trap in there, that's to prevent sewage odors from coming up, so it's built into the toilet. So I'm going to use a plumber's helper to try to push any water out that I can, because we're going to actually have to turn the toilet not completely over or sideways, but partially on its side, so I can clean the old gasket off the bottom, whatever's left, to make it clean, so we have a nice clean new contact when I put the toilet back on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and I'm going to shut the water off to the toilet. I'm going to put a little bowl under there so that once I remove this hose after I flush the toilet, there'll be a little bit of residual water that'll drip down, so I want to catch it into a cup or a bowl. Then we're going to take the lid off and set it aside. We're going to unbolt the one closet bolt that's still stuck on. We're going to open the lid, and we're going to tape it open so it won't fall on us. And then two of us are going to carefully lift the toilet up and off of the closet flange so we can get to it and see what we actually have to deal with at this point. So we're going to get to the point here where we're ready to pull the toilet, and we'll come back at that point and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, we're ready to pull the toilet now. So what we've done is we've removed the closet bolt that was good on this side. We've taken the nut off of it. On the right side here, the closet bolt was already loose. I've taped up the lid so that it won't fall on us, because we're actually going to have to pick it up from underneath here and in the back. It's going to take two of us, and we're going to pick it up and put it on this piece of cardboard, slide it out of the way, and then we'll be able to work on it. I want to make sure that you know that we disconnected the water supply. It's turned off. We drained the tank as much as we could, took the lid off to reduce weight, and then I used a plumber's helper to get as much water out of the trap here as I could. And that's about the best we can do. And so we're ready to pull it, and we'll do that next, and we'll show you what's happening after that. Okay, so we removed the toilet, and I cleaned out all of the beeswax gasket. It was all stuck here and everywhere. So I've cleaned that out, and I put a cloth over the drain so that I won't end up dropping anything down there. And I tried to be very careful not to drop any wax or anything. And I ended up, the flange turns out to be okay. The problem is it's canted this way. So now I understand what happened and why this bolt broke, was because the standard bolt was on that side and it was a brass bolt, so it was fine. Over here they had some kind of Mickey Mouse bolt because they needed something longer, so they just used a plain old steel bolt and slid it under there and then cut it off, which is, you know, what happens a lot of times when you don't have skilled craft workers doing the job. So I've come in here and cleaned off, like I said, everything here, and I've cleaned out inside these areas here so that I can take these new pieces and hopefully slip them in here. So that's what I'm going to work on now, is finding a way to get them in here and then sliding them forward, and then we'll come back when I get that done. Okay, I've opted to use the longer toilet mounting bolts because of the way this was situated. And what I've done is just by eyeball put a ruler across here to see if it's in the center of the drain pipe. It's pretty close. I'm sure somebody makes a fixture to test that with, or a tool, but it's going to be close enough. And I've also measured the distance from the wall to make sure each of these is the same distance. And the goal here is to make sure when I put the toilet back on that it's going to sit straight with the wall. So fortunately the flange was good, and so I'm able to reuse it. Going to put these in. Right now I'm going to go buy a new wax gasket and clean the bottom of the toilet, and then I'll put the wax gasket in and we'll come back at that point and we'll insert the toilet. So I'll show you that next. Okay, at this point we have turned the toilet on its side and we've cleaned everything off underneath, all the old wax and everything. We got a brand new wax seal, and following the instructions we've put it on the toilet. And now we're going to pick up the toilet and put it into place very carefully and push it down so that the wax seal can make a seal. So we're going to do that next, and then we'll show you what it looks like at that point. Okay, we placed the toilet back onto the closet bracket with the bolt sticking up. Took 3 of us to do it because we had the bowl on there and it does weigh a lot. I've snugged down the new brass bolts, and definitely the bolts that were in there, one was just a piece of steel, and it's because they didn't have the right hardware. So these are the 3-inch brass bolts. So I have them snugged down. The toilet's nice and solid. And so we're going to reconnect the water supply. We're going to fill it up, flush it, and make sure it's not leaking. And then we will just leave it as is for a couple of days, and then after it's been used a few times, I'll come back in and snug those bolts up, or the nuts, just to make sure they're snug. You don't want to over tighten them because you can crack the porcelain. And then we'll be done, and that's all there is to it. Pretty easy job. Thanks for watching.